is my jungle gym. Look at this big great world that we're living in.
You're in a very important stage of your life as a child. You are growing and learning about yourself in so many different ways. Your body and the way that you think are changing, and there are many things around you that are adding to these changes. One important change that has been happening to you and that will continue to change as you grow older is the way that you move. In this video, we will explain things that help and shape the way you move and tell you why it is important to know why you move the way you do. Your actual body, the actual thing or task that you're doing, and the things around you, also known as your environment, are all factors that play a role in how you move in your life. These all work together to help you do things such as walk, study, and play. These factors are also called constraints. There are different kinds of constraints: individual constraints, task constraints, and environmental constraints.
Constraints are the ways that your body is put together, structural constraint, and how all the parts of your body work together and behave, functional constraint. Examples of individual structural constraints are your body's height, weight, and the amount of muscle you have.
John is too short to reach the ball, therefore his height is affecting the way his body moves. This is an example of an individual structural constraint. Example of individual functional constraints are the amount of motivation that you have to perform the task, the fear that you may have of the task, or the body's strength or flexibility. For example, John's fear of the speed of the ball is affecting his ability to catch the ball and continue on with the game. Task constraints involve the goals of your movements. Examples of tasks and constraints are the goals of a task and the rules involved in your task or game that you're playing. In this video, the rules of the game of basketball, which require you to stay in the lines, is affecting the way John moves with the ball. In Justin O'Connor's study, he found that activities should be designed to help skills associated with the movement, such as dribbling a basketball, as a task constraint, but not overwhelm a child's ability for exploration or creativity. So to prevent overwhelming a child with task constraints in a game of basketball, it would be okay if the child double dribbled or traveled with the ball for a short period of time.
Lastly, environmental constraints are the features of the world around us, which include the amount of light present, temperature, humidity, or the surface of the floors. Even things like gravity, the force on this earth that keeps you on your feet and not from floating, has been affecting you since you were a baby. A study done by Robert Jensen showed that the way gravity interacts with you as a baby can affect how you will move and develop later in life. He and his team of researchers showed that different changes in gravity activities as a baby will help you adapt to more things when you grow up.
In this video clip, the surface of the floors, which were slippery, are keeping John from moving properly in his environment. Environmental constraints can also deal with the culture around us. For example, how one specific group of people plays a game may be different from how another group of people plays that same game. When someone is hurt or injured, his or her constraints are affected, and of course the way he or she moves also changes. This happens to many kids who, for example, if they fall and hurt their leg, are not able to move as well as they originally could. A study for the American Alliance for Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance showed an example that catching a ball with one hand was more difficult when their vision was impaired in some way. However, because of this constraint, the more they practiced catching the ball, the better they got. This shows that even if your constraints are affecting you in a bad way, you and your body will adapt and overcome this hurdle.
It is important that you learn and are aware of the type of constraints that affect you, because you can learn to deal with them and even adapt, so that you can move around the way you want to. By learning what types of things contribute to your everyday movements, you can even learn how to get better at some of them.